Hello everyone and welcome to this Altcoin weekly update. I hope you're all doing well, and I just decided to start the stream a little early because I noticed that I have a couple of meetings lined up right after this stream. So I thought it's best to just get it out of the way and yeah, start a few minutes early. So I hope that is not a problem for you all. And as always, let's have a look at Ethereum first, because if we remind ourselves, we had some interesting moves on Bitcoin, and that's naturally going to translate over to the Ethereum chart. So the drop on Ethereum wasn't as big, but finally we at least saw a little bit of a move below this smaller range that we've been trading in for almost 14 days. So that was very slow and boring price action. So I myself didn't take a single trade on Ethereum within this entire price action. So yeah, overall, nothing much has changed still with the setup I'm looking at on Ethereum. There's literally no confluence up here. So we do have this value area low of this range. In my opinion, although we have seen the bounce, this is quite a weak confluence. So we have nothing apart from this value area low, and below we at least, oh, let me see, there's a double CC. We at least have a CC on a daily, on a weekly naked point of control and all that. So in my opinion, it's still the best confluence down here. I would still look for a scenario where we take the liquidity first. So we can see there's a nice liquidity area, 2,306, and I would still like to see that taken, then see a little bit of strength come in, reclaim the daily, and for me that could be a valid long trade entry still. However, I have a slight feeling that if we approach this level, it's going to be impulsive, and we probably, I don't know, it's just a feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised to just dump into this level below at 2050, but that's just a gut feeling. It doesn't have to happen like that, but if we do, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised for some strange and odd reason. But yeah, if we get to this confluence area here and we do get a nice support, or we find nice support and start to see some strength come in, I would then already take a trade here, and very simple as always, if we just drop from here, drop impulsively. I'm not gonna preset this area and wait for these NPOCs below. So yeah, that's nice. And in terms of resistance, we do have a little bit of resistance above. We can see that we just rejected this anchored VWAP. Okay, so this is this anchored VWAP for this latest move to the downside on Ethereum. I'm just gonna update this real quick. Oh, that's still sitting up there. Nothing much has changed with my perspective that the next best short trade is gonna be this previous range, value area low retest lining up with this weekly naked point of control. So yeah, before we hit that, I'm not too interested in taking a trade. I know that there's going to be some confluence around that value area high and this daily naked point of control, because that's exactly lining up with the 7.5. And there is a scenario to see a bit of a move to the upside, reject here, and then come back down for this lower confluence area. But I don't know, I don't like this confluence area too much. So for now, I'm not necessarily planning a trade here. I will be setting an alert to see the reaction upon hitting that level, but I prefer this weekly naked point of control above. If we reject here, I can still react to what the market is showing me, look at the new data that is coming in. But for now, I'm not too interested in that. Just Ethereum was so slow over the last couple of days, and I just want to see a little bit more exciting price action to look for my next trades. Quick update on that SAT trade that I gave 1 week ago. So from entry, this has dropped 24%, so that was an amazing setup. I myself have had 2 take profits. The first one was the value area high retest, the next one in that point of control area. So yeah, by now that definitely is a risk-free trade. Locked some nice profits on that one. And that was a pretty beautiful setup, once again based off a previous range value area low. As I try to emphasize every single time, especially on altcoins, These are major levels we have to be aware of, and thus I would also use it as take profit areas here, for example, on the retest of the value area high. This is a very good take profit level, and yeah, nothing has changed with this long trade here. Still interested in that. If we get down here, I would see if I just keep my short trade open, start this as a hedge long trade, and then see if it goes against my direction. I can just cut my long trade and stay in my short trade, or vice versa. Obviously, if I see strength come in, I can close my short trade, stay in the long trade, look for higher levels. So this, or the fact that I am in this short trade, obviously leaves me in a very good position of whatever happens next. I am going to be protected. Even if I take a long trade down here, the risk is not going to be, there is literally not going to be any risk, because I already have a short trade open for if that trade goes against me. And if we lose this low down here, I would expect a new low to be made. So that would then be a very nice short trade, and I would keep it open till we make a new low. So that is that. On AVAX, also some interesting price action. I was looking at the CC on this monthly naked point of control. We can see beautiful rejection. Ever since that entry, we had a rejection of 13%. That's also not too bad. Take profit 1. Then I explained, I must have been in one of my live trading streams, I think it was yesterday, but I said this previous supply zone is my first take profit 1. And we can see price is trying to hold this previous supply zone, not getting major follow through, because overall we are still in a downtrend. So the way I manage this trade is locked in a take profit 1, moved stop loss to entry, and my next take profit is going to be down here. Oh, that's actually nice. I didn't see that, but it's also right on the value area high. So it makes sense that price is at least trying something. My take profit is 21. Okay, and this is a slight front run of this range point of control. So that way I would manage my AVAX trade. And now I want to have a look at some altcoins that have been requested for this week. So the first one is going to be DOT. And DOT is in a massive downtrend since, what is it, March 24. So since March, we're just making lower lows and lower highs. That looks very bearish, to be honest. And yeah, there is something that is very obvious if we look at this chart right here, and that is on, it was Monday, the 5th of August, we came very close to this low. It must even be, yeah, that is the all-time low, at least on Bybit. I have no idea if any other charts have a lower low than this, but we can see it came very close. That almost looks like a double bottom down here. And whenever I see this, I can't really be interested in long trades up here. So for me, on DOT, what I am going to look for is an SFP of this low at 3.553. And if I do see a nice reaction down there, I would be interested in a long trade. Up here, I must say, not really interested in anything, because all we do, if we look at this, for example, that was our previous range, right? We lost this range, and what we just did was retest the previous demand zone. So that is still massive weakness that we're seeing on DOT. It was also a nice psychological level based off this $5 mark here. And yeah, it's just, in my opinion, not a long trade I would be comfortable taking. So we can see there is a daily down here, and this is where we are trying to find a little bit of support. We also did take the liquidity here. But I must say, I am going to sit out on DOT unless we make a new low, and then I could look for a long trade. Okay, so the confluence we bounced off of was a weekly naked point of control, and the weekly, I can hide this now. I'm gonna hide the daily, and yeah, simply look for this SFP down here. If we get this, it's a very low risk trade because it's an SFP of this overall low, and a very simple answer. So what I would do here for our time frame, see if we get this SFP or not. And then I would even like to manage this trade a little further, but I'm probably going to update on this. If we get this, if we get a nice reaction here, this could be a trade that I'm going to hold for quite some time. Because if I see strength come in upon seeing this SFP, I would even be interested to look for market structure changes, look for compounds on CCW retests, for example. But obviously that is too early to tell. I need more data for that. That is the only trade I'm looking at. Not really interested in any short trades here. I would actually prefer to see this drop just getting follow through into the lows. Because although there is a naked point of control lining up with this high, yeah, this demand is already tested. So I would prefer to just drop into my level here. And next one is Sand. So Sand was requested. It was a coin I gave a setup a few weeks ago. I don't remember when it was exactly, but I was looking at this, surprise, surprise, but short trade on the retest of a previous range value area low. This is one of my favorite setups. You probably know why. It was also sitting right on a weekly. We had SFP, we had an anchored VWAP lining up with this level, and this short trade, as we can see, played out perfectly. So that was a drop of nearly 40%. That's not too bad. And now it's a little bit tricky. So I can hide all that. And if we look at this price action, we can see we had massive weakness because ever since we made the high up there, price same as on dot is just going lower and lower. We are forming a little bit of a range down here. The best trade in my opinion was this retest. That was the previous range value area low. This was an amazing trade. And now we are in a little bit of a situation that, we made a low here, but I don't really see a reason what this low is. It's not a great SFP because we didn't even manage to hold this previous low that we had. We had a nice SFP, failed to get follow through, failed to reclaim the value area low. So there's still nothing bullish here. Okay, we can see this is still a downtrend. Price just made a lower high right here. And is it really a good idea to look for this long trade? In terms of context, it's definitely not. Okay, so what I wanted to do with this Sand example is show when I am not going to take a trade on a specific altcoin. Because here, for example, I just don't like the confluence. The context is against looking for a trade at the daily and naked point of control. So what I'm going to do on altcoins is just go ahead and say I'm going to delete these levels. I am not trading based off them. If we do form a higher low here, that's fine. Then I'm simply going to miss out and capitalize on 100 other altcoins that I can trade. Here, I'm not interested in a trade. Now we look at this daily. No confluence here. I don't really like this. So the next thing I could look at is a short trade on this range point of control in confluence with two naked point of controls. But once again, if I look at this, yes, we would have probably changed we would probably change the context a little bit approaching this point of control, because then we indeed probably formed a higher low here and went higher. And then I would think to myself, this liquidity does look a little bit suspicious. So what I would do here, to be completely honest with you, is also delete these levels. I would keep this fixed range, but I'm not gonna take a trade based off this. And I had a couple of questions about this, how I sometimes decide not to take a trade. And in my opinion, I wanted to include Sand because that was such a good example where context is just not amazing to be looking for trades here. And that's the good thing on altcoins. We have so many altcoins. This is my current watch list. I don't even know how many altcoins there are, but many. So if I'm not very 100% confident to take a trade on Sand, I would just go ahead and decide not to trade it, look for something else. And this, in my opinion, is an amazing example where I just don't like to involve myself. Okay, so there's not going to be a setup on Sand. We had the short trade, but other than that, I just don't like it, to be honest. So let's have a look at the next one. That is Matic. Matic also, that was a nice short trade we were looking at. We did have some other confluences up here. Also, we did take these highs. So since entry, my trade is completely closed, by the way. We had a drop of 54% into my take profit down here. We even dropped a little bit lower. So that is quite a nice drop. I would also go ahead and hide some levels here. I can hide this and let's have a look at the weekly. So here it reminded me of DOT. Okay, we can see major weakness on this chart. So just if we look at this more recent price action, we can see a massive drop. The bounces are pretty weak. So look at this. We had a drop of 55% and the drop was 30%, followed by another 50%. We had a drop of, yeah, that was 66%. But the drops are smaller in comparison to no, sorry, the bounces are smaller in comparison to the drops. So the context is very bearish here. We can see price did not manage to reclaim this big range, point of control and value area low, which is lining up. Okay, so this is 100% in terms of context going to be a major level to see if that at some point can be reclaimed. Because technically speaking, if we reclaim this area, we could look for a value rotation all the way up to this value area high. But so far, we didn't do that, obviously. And I said it looks similar to DOT. The reason for this is that the low is once again very close to this all-time low here on Bybit. So that was formed on the 13th of June 22. So that's a long time ago, but the liquidity is still sitting down here. This low has not been taken. And if I look at this once again, failure to reclaim the value area low, rejecting this anchored VWAP, massive downtrend, does it make sense to look for a higher low trade around this naked point of control? In terms of context, given that we have this liquidity down here, it doesn't really make sense. Can it happen that we bounce off this naked point of control? Because I can probably pop in a CC and we have some confluence around this area, or a CCW. But yeah, this is again, CC is slightly higher. Let's look at the CCW. It's around the 70%. So it can happen, obviously, but this is one of the trades I would be more than happy to miss. And I am going to stick to my plan to wait for the overall lows to be taken or simply not involve myself. So yeah, the overall low is sitting at 0.3157. I'm going to place an alert here. And if I get it, this is going to be a nice long trade for me, same as on DOT. Okay, what I would do here, stop loss obviously has yet to be decided, but since this could again be more of a trade that I keep open for a longer time, I can allow myself to wait for this SFP. So that is criteria number one. We obviously need to see this SFP, or failed auction is also fine. But in this case down here, I would pair it with a market structure change. So I want to see a higher high to be made on the lower time frame, such as the 4-hour time frame, this higher low as my pivot number 2. Then I need to see this confirmed higher high on the lower time frames, because still, given that this is the overall low, I can allow myself a little bit of a stop loss, as the target would be potentially even take it into the reclaim of the value area low. Say I'm already in the long trade from down here. If I see nice price action such as this, we take this previous high, then we see the retest of the value area low. I could go ahead and even compound this trade. So this is one of the trades where I'm interested in building a position if I like what I see. Obviously, for now, very speculative. I need to see much more price action than this. But if we get scenarios like this could be a position that I'm holding maybe even for a year. Okay, so definitely a swing trade, and we have yet to see how that plays out. But the entry criteria is very much set in stone down here. Trade management has to be decided on what we do if we even bounce from down there. Okay. Not really interested in anything else. So it's also a weekly lining up here, but I just explained this. If we, let me just mark this as a swing long. So the only trade I can see up here is another retest of this zone right on this weekly naked point of control. So if that was to happen, I would check the reaction again to see if I can aim for a lower high trade and try to take it into the lows. In my opinion, it's so unlikely to keep the lows intact down here that I would prefer to look for a short trade up here rather than looking for this higher low long trade, although there is a little bit of confluence. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with Matic. Next one is going to be Popcat. Popcat was very interesting. So if I hide everything but this pitchfork, it is a pitchfork I was looking at quite a while ago. It was very interesting. So what I liked about this pitchfork was that we found some resistance up here, a little bit of a failed auction above, then the move below, but we can see the middle of the pitchfork is respected. And back then, so I was looking at this when we were trading up here. It was pretty nice to see that the low of the pitchfork was perfectly well respected. We can see a rise into the middle of the pitchfork, more or less. Okay, it's a little bit of a zone, not an exact level. Then we came back down here, made a higher low, and now we claimed this middle of the pitchfork. So quite interesting. I would just keep it on my chart, because whenever I have a well-defined pitchfork, it's actually, I do like this tool. A pitchfork is amazing. So let's see if we can see continued respect of this pitchfork. I would just keep it on my chart and see how we react to it, okay? But overall, Popcat is more or less range bound, although a little bit, or I am leaning towards a little bit more upside. So it's always trying. So these bounces are pretty intense. When we get the bounces, they are typically very nice. I think back then I was even looking at a SFP trade here during a live trading stream or something. Didn't take it myself, to be completely honest, but it was yeah, something I was looking at. So now what I would prefer is to make another higher low, to be honest, or at least keep this low intact and travel higher. So one idea that I have in mind is to see a retest of this zone, of the range point of control as well as the weekly. This is going to be a zone all the way down to this value area low where I would be interested in a long trade. Okay, to me it just feels like Popcat has the, yeah, has enough strength to actually make a new high. Because if we compare it to what Bitcoin was doing, to what Ethereum was doing, Popcat performed pretty well, to be honest. The drop here wasn't too big. We can see currently retesting this range value area high. I don't really like to involve myself up here, but if we, and there's also a naked weekly point of control, but if we retest this zone, I would be interested in a long trade. Okay, stop loss I would keep a little bit lower. I would allow price to take this liquidity actually. Okay, this would not invalidate my plan. And the overall idea would be to at least aim for the top of the pitchfork. So this is what I'm looking at on Popcat. We don't have many confluences, honestly, but that's one of them that, yeah, I do like. Let's see, anchored VWAP probably higher, yeah. Okay, so this is the one and only trade I am checking or looking at on Popcat. And the last coin here is Velo, something I also wanted to include. It looks like a pattern we are seeing on these altcoins, but down here, that is also a double bottom. We didn't take the liquidity. However, the context here changed a little bit, because if we look at the 4-hour time frame, price had a pretty significant rise away from this level. So we already, currently we are even forming a range above this previous high. So yeah, if we get down here, this is still going to be an interesting level, but it doesn't really make sense to look at this for the next week, because this would be a drop of 50%. And yeah, for now, I would say there is an argument for higher, because if we look at this, let's simply split this into these boxes again. If we look at this as our previous range, we can see price broke out of this range. We can emphasize this by looking at previous supply zones. So this previous supply is flipped into demand. So the context is pointing towards higher. And we can easily see that we are now forming a range up here. And this range looks like it wants to continue to the upside. That's just what the context suggests, because we also find pretty nice support off of this anchored VWAP. And I myself am interested in more of a local trade. Oh, there's a mosquito here. More of a local trade, because I like what I'm seeing here with this support that is found off this anchored VWAP. Price trying here. We did take this high, spend time up here. So market structure is also pointing towards higher. I would like to see a retest of the point of control in daily zone, which is then going to be in confluence with the CC, and look for more of an, it's probably going to start as an intraday trade, but something that I could hold for at least these highs. Okay, so that's what I would look at on Velo, whatever. Okay, so this is the trading idea, the take profit one up here, and then I would try to hold it for the daily, because it just looks like it wants higher prices to come. Okay, so I'm gonna have a quick look at TON. So as my last coin for today, let's quickly see that. I did look at this a while ago. So TON perpetual. He says it's hyped, so let's see, is that hyped? So, just gonna clean up my chart a little bit. Anchor VWAP can also go monthly, currently bouncing off that. Not weekly, it's a monthly. Down here as well, I just want to see when we bounced off of this level. So it's this week. Let's see, it was on Monday. On Monday, we bounce off this monthly, okay. I always want to check this, because on the monthly, we obviously can't see, but I need to know it for context to know if it makes sense to look for a retest or something. Because monthlies are also pretty amazing on altcoins. Okay, but liquidity is not taken. I just see this right here, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to take a long trade up there again. Let me see, is it an anchored VWAP? Even above, okay. What's the range? Currently at range value area low. I prefer an SFP down here. It's the easiest trade. Something I would like. And then this weekly has some confluence. But honestly, I prefer this into the 4.5. Nice number. Yeah, for me, on a TON, I would look for an SFP like this, to be honest with you. This is the best trade, because we can see prices making these higher highs, and it doesn't look great. So I would prefer this. Okay, I don't know what that means. It's Doxcoin actually, but TON, that's what you said. So TON, I think, is the symbol. Maybe it has a different name. I don't know. I have no idea about these fundamentals, to be honest with you. But that's what I would look at here. So yeah, that's going to be Wow, this mosquito really annoying. That's all the coins I wanted to look at for today. So let's see if we can get some altcoin price action within the next couple of days. Till then, I'm just gonna write my SAT and AVAX trade. So I hope you all enjoyed this stream. As I already said, Daniel is going to cover my live trading stream today. So yeah, wish you all a great day and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.